is 22 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, candidate for our upcoming municipal election here for City Council, running in Ward 1, James Edwards in studio, back with us this morning. Morning, sir. How you doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Well, thanks for doing the show, and thank you. I had Ed on last hour, and I want to say the same thing to you I said to Ed. Thank you very much for stepping up and being a part of this community. Win, lose, or draw. Obviously, you've served and serving on the school board right now, so you know this isn't new for you serving the community. But because of people like you and like your opponent and your candidates and everybody out, we appreciate these folks coming up and stepping up. Run. This isn't professional politics like we would think of with Congress and state level. These are your neighbors. These are the people you go to church with, the people you go and shop with, and things like that. So thank you, first off, for doing all that. Win, lose, draw, or anything we talk about. I appreciate your commitment to our community.
And thank you for allowing me to come here and speak. And thank Roswell for having some people that are willing to step up. You know, a lot of times people don't want to step up.
Absolutely. So let's talk the why first. Let's get that right out of the room. What obviously you're right now, for folks that don't know, James, you serve on our school board right now and have for what, last 1-2 terms now? Is it?
This will be my second term.
Okay.
I have a total of 5 years in, and this will be my second term.
Very good. So what made you say, you know what, I want to get involved on the city council side?
It's pretty much the same reason that I ran for school board. You know, you can sit on the sidelines or sit up in the stand and critique everything that's done.
Sure.
But unless you're willing to step up and get down on that field and be the coach, you don't really have a say. So, and I was seeing a lot of things that I wasn't happy with, and I continue to see those things. And so I said, you know what, I can sit back and talk to different people in the community and do nothing about it. So I said, I'll step up just like I did for the school board. Sure. I stepped up for a reason, and it's not my reason. You hear concerns in the community.
Sure.
And I hear them all the time.
Sure. I would also, and maybe this is a fair statement, maybe it's not, I would argue your passion is youth. Obviously, with your day job, with your involvement in youth sports and then of course the college, all the things you've done with working with youth in our community, that translates over in school board and things like that. Is that kind of a battle cry for you as a city councilor too? Is focusing on our youth, or is that one part or not a part of your city council side?
I think I focus on people. Mm-hmm. Youth is my passion.
Sure.
But people are my passion. I see a lot of people that are out there that are homeless, or when you got community organizations or nonprofits that are trying to raise money to help. I have a passion for that.
Gotcha.
I'm the person that when I walk out the door and they're ringing the bell for the Salvation Army, I'll go in and I'll pull my last $2 or my last $3. If not, I'll go get some change and put it in there. I don't walk by without.
I get you later, or
right.
I can't do it. I'm going to make a point of giving back.
And I also, I also donate food down here to the community kitchen. Mm-hmm. Every month I take a load of food to the community kitchen because there's that need. I have a passion for Roswell.
You've made that your routine.
Yes, okay. I'm from Roswell, and I grew up here, and Roswell has helped me a lot. It helped me more than people can only imagine, because I had people that helped me get away from Roswell and go to college.
Okay.
And also assisted with paying for the college.
Gotcha.
So I do have a passion for Roswell. I grew up here, but my passion is kids. The kids are our future, and I think we've forgotten that.
Oh, and absolutely, and I would also argue that, especially at the level of work you're doing here in the community, at this level, at the kind of the grassroots level of it, I think you understand as well as I do, and I think a lot of us do, that you always hear the cliches, the children are our future and all that, but that really is, if we don't prepare them now, what we do now doesn't matter much, does it? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And what we do now can affect our leaders of the future. If they see negative, that's what we're going to get is negative leaders.
Sure.
I think that's one of the reasons I did run, because I see so much negativity out there.
Gotcha.
And the one thing I won't do is I don't sling mud.
Yeah.
I tell the truth. But the leadership, I have this saying: leadership reflects attitude, and a lot of people don't understand that. But the leadership that you show reflects later on.
Absolutely. Well, and I would imagine with your experience on the school board alone, that probably gives you a unique perspective into that a little bit. Because obviously, being on city council, serving as mayor, city council, these are lightning rod positions in a community. You get the credit sometimes, but you certainly get all the blame. That's just kind of those. Sitting on the school board is just as much, if not more so, because I would argue when it comes to people's kids, people will get a little mama bear on it. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, is what I'm saying. Is they're going to bow up and act out of character for their kids sometimes. So I got to imagine, as a school board member, you've dealt with that kind of mindset and mentality over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
especially COVID.
Yes. And we have the one group, the concerned citizens. I understood them being disgruntled.
Right.
And after meeting with some of the people here recently, they found out, hey, you know what, James, you're not a bad guy. We didn't get to know each other.
Gotcha.
All I knew is that they were upset about something,
and you were the person they're directing the anger at. It
was the whole group. They were aiming their concerns at, and I wasn't upset at them for doing what they did.
Sure.
I actually applaud them, because guess what? Sometimes that's what it takes. When you look at what America was founded on, it was people being disgruntled and rising up against oppression.
Passion's a good thing.
Yes.
But there's a way to handle it, and then there's a way not to handle it, and we need to learn how to handle that a little.
I think adults really do need to learn how to handle it.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to you earlier, we teach our kids about responsibility. We say, hey, you got to go to school. You be respectful at school. Be respectful to your teachers. But if we're not displaying those characteristics out in the public or at home, the kid, no matter what you tell those kids are going to pick up what they're seeing daily.
They pick up by example, their osmosis, whatever you want to call it. They absorb it. Absolutely. I do want to talk some issues, that side of thing. As far as city-wide issues right now, what's greatest concerns for you? Is there particular areas of the city that alarm you most, or is there, just what, like as city council, what's some of the things that are kind of bugging you that's going on in the city right now?
I think one of the main issues that bugs me is we have this policy of cost recovery.
Okay.
And I've been reading the newspapers from the gentleman out at the drag strip that had a meeting at the airport with the airport on the fees. The golfers at the golf course, the museum, the zoo, the aquatic center. It seems like every time somebody meets with the city, they raise everything.
Gotcha.
The fees go up. That's a tax.
Okay.
And I've thought about this. I've heard people say, "Oh, we're not going to raise taxes." There's other ways to get your money. No matter how you look at it, it's a tax.
Gotcha. Okay.
You're hitting people in the pocketbook that contribute to Roswell.
Okay.
And we're expecting them to pay more.
Sure.
I was reading about the drag strip. They were paying $500 and something a month for the drag strip. Then all of a sudden, the city's going to raise their fees, and now the drag strip, like I read in the paper, the gentleman says they're going to be out of business. Okay, so is the city in the business of putting people out of business?
Sure.
That's a quality of life.
Gotcha.
Golfing is a quality of life. Youth sports is a quality of life.
So being a little bit more pro-friendly to some of these businesses,
right?
Instead of you're working with them instead of trying to against them, I guess.
Against them,
Yeah.
because those people bring in those folks bring in revenue, and they offer something that we don't have. You
Sure.
know, you keep hearing about that. There's nothing to do in Roswell.
Right.
Eventually, there's not going to be anything to do in Roswell because everybody's going to be out of business.
Sure. I would ask this too, because like you talking about like fee structure and all that, there's got to be a balance there, because obviously we can't just keep, I guess the argument is that, these amenities that we have as a community, they're not meant to make money because they're city amenities here, but at the same time, they can't break us. So how do we find that balance of making it available to everybody, but at the same time not costing more money than we're willing to put in the budget on it? That I think that's the balance there.
I understand where you're going.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be, somebody has to be responsible.
Sure.
And it starts with your finances. It starts up at the head shed, as we call it in the military. Mm-hmm. We have a city manager. We have a financial person. What is our actual budget?
Gotcha.
We have to look at the budget.
We're just spending too much money.
Are we spending too much money on salaries?
Okay.
Because I've looked at this.
So it's really just to look at where we spend it, how we spend it. Maybe we need to shift dollars to compensate for some of this.
Right, and
Gotcha.
nothing's free. When they were going to raise charge a fee over at the zoo. I've been to the Alamogordo Zoo, and I paid the $4 to go in, $5, $4, and it was well worth it. I haven't been to our zoo since they implemented the fees, but I guarantee it's more than $4.
Okay.
$4 is affordable.
You're saying it's not bang. You're not getting the bang for your buck there.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And we need to look at our finances.
Okay.
We need to open the books.
Let's go the other way. Is there anything positive? Like you're thinking, you know what, city nailed it. This is something we need to embrace and expand on. Is there any things like that on that side that you really want to do more with and promote as a city councilor?
I think if the city was to piggyback and continue to do what we've done in the past, and I hate to reflect on the past, but the things that we did in the past were successful.
Sure.
Main Street Roswell hosting the UFO Festival. Last year I went out to the UFO Festival, and it was quite confusing. But what the city did is we pulled it from Main Street Roswell and hired a private contractor to come in and run Roswell business.
Right.
And from last I heard, they're no longer going to be doing it. The city's going to do it. We need to start doing our homework.
Okay.
Not everything in Roswell is bad.
So get a consistent plan there.
We need to have a plan.
Yeah. And I think as well as I do that that's been something since the 90s that they can't, but between Main Street, the city, and the UFO Museum. I mean, there's really three entities involved there, and it seems like since the 90s, a lack of getting those three on the same page for this.
Yeah, and the convention center, the convention center used to be the hub of our community. Gun shows used to go there. Now gun shows go out to the fairgrounds. So, I think we've lost sight.
Sure. We don't want to price ourselves out of our own thing.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
We're pricing ourselves out of good programs, but the salaries for the top 10% keep going up at the top level. So we need to maybe look at that too.
Gotcha.
Do we have a chief financial officer here in Chaves County?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Joe Nebb, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's someone that looks at budget. I don't know what their titles are and everything else. But yeah. So how is being, in your opinion, because I got to imagine going to your school board experience here, if anything really trained you as a city councilor, I mean, there's nothing, those two are very similar, as far as the impact on the community and the way people, how does that training, does that experience all add to that being a city councilor? And what I mean by that is because of the lightning rod side, the fact that, you're gonna. Is it the same job, or is it a different job in your opinion in many facets?
I believe it's one and the same,
Yeah.
but there's differences. One thing that I've learned is looking at the audits, being on the financial committee for the school board, and it all depends on how you handle controversy and the hot topics.
Sure.
My method is not to fight with anybody. I'm not going to argue with you, and we can have a difference of opinion, but
Sure.
at the end of the meeting, we can shake hands.
And then some opinions aren't going to change. I don't care how
Exactly.
many people argue about it. It's like we'll just take the mask, for instance. People are pretty much set in their way whether they're going to wear a mask or not wear a mask.
Right.
You can argue till you're blue in the face, but when you two walk away, you're probably not changing your opinion about it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And so you're kind of saying, well, pick your battle. We'll why beat around go back and forth on this where we can talk about something else so we can make some headway on here.
Right.
Gotcha. Very good. So let me ask school board, what's the biggest lesson that you've taken from that one? Walking away from, assuming you get elected here, I think you have to step. I don't think you can serve both here, but talk.
Yes, I can serve both.
Can you? Is that
Yes,
allowed? There?
Yes.
But
That's-
what's the greatest takeaway from that for you as a city councilor? What do you take away from the school board to say, you know what, this is going to serve me well as a city councilor?
I think the communication.
Okay.
Communication, not being afraid to answer difficult questions like we had this issue come up at the last school board
Sure.
about Mesa and Nancy Lopez. As a school board member, that I take that serious because somebody's going to be affected by it.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times we have too many city councilors. They get elected and they tend to forget their constituents.
Gotcha.
They get a title, they get the prestige,
Sure.
and they forget who elected them. And that's one of the things that I've learned about being on the school board. The citizens, concerned citizens, got together and they had an election, and we lost 2 school board members. So when the people do rise up and speak, I think that was a good example. That's one of the things that I've learned is that, hey, as easily as you got voted in, you can get voted out.
Gotcha. Yeah, nothing's given.
Nothing is given.
Nothing's guaranteed. What's your proudest moment or proudest achievement as a school board member? Is there something that if you walk, say tomorrow you don't go to another school board meeting, what's the thing you're most proud of as a school board member?
I would have to say that seeing Mesa being built.
Okay.
Because I went to Mesa.
Gotcha.
And
that was a little near and dear to your heart.
Right, and it's near and dear to a lot of people's heart.
Yeah.
Because when I got elected, some of the doors, I talked to older people that are older than me, and they said, James, those doors have been there 60, 70 years. And I got some of those doors replaced because it bugged me
Sure.
that 60, 70 years you could see under the doors.
Right.
So one of the things I did is I went to visit those.
This is the United States, man. We should be able to have some nice modern stuff for our kids.
Right. And for far too long, it was being neglected. But now we got a new building going up. It should be finished here in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Del Norte was built. I appreciate the voters. And then
Sure.
we got Nancy Lopez, which is due to start building here in about the next 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
I think those are proud moments.
Yeah. And long overdue.
Long
Right.
overdue.
Yeah, and I would just say that was almost just a history thing where, let's face it, Roswell, New Mexico was a retirement community for the longest time, and money was not invested in schools as much back then as it is now. And I think we're now fixing the problems from the past from that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
since you opened up, you talked about the retirement community.
Yeah.
I think our retirees are being left out.
Sure.
Roswell Adult Center.
It's kind of back in the other way now, where for many years there was money invested, and I don't know if there's like a shift in people like, nah, screw these group, we're going to go help this group now, and I'm like, we can do all at the same time. But am I off that? But I think that's kind of where you're going.
Exactly.
There. Yeah.
I think Roswell can be all inclusive. I know.
Yeah.
And it should be all inclusive. Look at the east side of town, the west side of town, the northeast side of town, the southeast side of town, the northwest side of town. There needs to be a balance. And, when something good happens in one area, we need to make sure that something good happens in another area so that we're not being left out.
Sure.
And I think that's why you have so many candidates running, because the current council, and I'm not slinging mud,
Sure.
they don't listen to their constituents.
Gotcha.
You know, you can throw up a park and say, "Oh, look at what I did," but if people aren't going to that park's no good.
Sure. So basically, you kind of look at the volume of candidates, which is a bigger number than most municipal elections in recent years. That speaks volumes there if you just kind of read the writing on the wall a little bit.
Yes.
Gotcha. I do want to turn to Ward 1. I'm sure you've been out visiting and talking to folks around that area. Is there Ward 1 issues unique that you think, I mean, obviously, serving as city council, you serve all of the city. Obviously, you kind of with a special representation for Ward 1 here. So is there certain issues in the ward that maybe you think needs to be brought before the city council, or things you're hearing from people out as you're out talking?
I haven't been out to as much as I would like because I lost my brother recently here in the last 3 weeks.
Sorry to hear that.
But I have talked to quite a few people.
Yeah.
Roads. The other thing that people in Ward 1 feel that they've been neglected is they're not being heard.
Gotcha.
I'm just telling you, they're not being heard.
Okay.
They're not being listened to.
Okay.
And that goes from the historic district to all the way to the Chihuahuita district. They're not being heard, and they feel like they're being neglected. One of the other issues that I keep hearing is the trash. Roswell used to be an all-American city. When's the last time we've had that distinction? Roswell used to be a very clean city, but we got rid of the receptacles that we used to do for
the recycling.
Recycling. We got rid of that. I've seen a lot more of those smaller trash cans that are being pushed out to the street. Well, when you push trash cans out to the street, that's what big cities do, and you have more trash blowing everywhere.
Gotcha.
The trash, the roads.
So we broke a system that wasn't broke to begin with. Gotcha.
And then not being heard. No matter whether, like you said, win, lose, or draw.
Sure.
Whoever's elected needs to listen to the people.
Gotcha.
Because there's another election coming up here in 2 years. There's another election coming up in 4 years. And I'll be prepared.
Gotcha. We're about out of time, but I do want to leave you like kind of the last word here and give you an opportunity to just say or address anything that we didn't get a chance to talk about, or point things that you want to make sure you get out there to the folks.
One of the things that I like to get out to the folks is, no matter who you vote for, get out to vote. Because if you don't get out to vote, then you have no reason to really complain. And then it's too late. Keep up with what's going on in the news. Don't be so complacent. I think we've become so complacent and accepted the good and the bad and the indifferent.
Sure.
That we're just complacent. The other thing is, read the newspaper. Go to reliable sources and see what's going on. Financial audits, charging of city people, double charging. It's a tax. Let's learn to get along and be receptive to new ideas.
Sure.
Because, like I told somebody the other day, if I'm the smartest person in the room, there's something wrong. There's 10 or 20 other people that have just as good ideas.
Well, good ideas are good ideas. Doesn't matter where they come from if it's a good idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at the end of the day, the answer is no. I mean, if there's a good idea, let's regardless what side made the idea or who came up with the idea. It's like, well, you know what I mean? Yeah, and we've turned mentally, I think, a little bit, like you're saying, yeah, it's a good idea, but that's from the other guy, so we can't take that as an opinion.
But I think what we need also is more people that are from Roswell that understand the needs of Roswell to be allowed to move up in the hierarchy. Because right now, it's my way or the highway.
Sure. Well, and then this is your statement, but I get what you're saying too about getting involved. You know what I mean? I really think we have a close-knit community, but if you think about it, it's the same 100, 200 people that show up at all the events. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like when there's a community event, whatever it is, whether it's for veterans or for kids or for wherever it is, there's always the same 200 people that are involved in a lot of things that come out, and and we need more people to come out and be involved in that side.
One last note.
Yes.
You mentioned veterans. Mm-hmm. We need to take care of our veterans. You know, I'm part of one of the veterans group. Mm-hmm. They've already paid a price. They don't need to be charged. They've served. They've paid a price.
Sure.
Don't forget our veterans, our retirees, and our kids, and the common blue collar worker that has to get out there and bust his back.
Sure.
To take care of our community.
As we get to a certain stage in life, those people that looked out for us, we need to treat them with that respect and with that privilege. And that's how society really works, isn't it? I mean, because that in turn, the younger generation see that respect, see that okay, these are what good people that do our community. This is what happens to those folks, and so it's almost the seniors that bust up. We need to let that happen, but at the same time, you know what I mean, because it's so important on creating the next generation of leaders, of people. You almost have to show this is why you do that. And I think, unfortunately, our seniors, our veterans, are people that have chewed some dirt and are now, ready to take a little bit of a break here. We need that. What I mean by that is you got to show people this is what happens to people that do great things for us. They live in our community and we treat them well, and they go on to be respected members of our community. And we're missing a little of that in our world right now. I'm not saying there's a hierarchy or pecking order, you do this, this, and this, but at the same time, if you go for goals and you achieve them, you should give rewards for those goals. And
right.
And I think you need to show that side of it a little bit.
And I think everybody just needs to be heard. You know,
Yeah.
We have 10 counselors. Nobody should have more power than the other.
Yeah.
And everybody, and like I said, we need to be working together. And right now, I don't think I see Roswell as working together.
Gotcha. So, if anybody wants more information about James Edwards, wants to get involved in the campaign, what's the best way to do that right now?
Hey, you can give me a call.
Okay.
575-420-0559.
Very good. Do you do Facebook or any of that stuff, or not really? Or
I tend to stay away from that because it can get you in trouble.
I understand completely. You notice a thing, we got people that have experience doing stuff. They tend to stay away from Facebook. You notice that? There's a pattern here.
Right.
Very good. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate the visit. And win, lose, or draw, we'd love to have. We'll see you. We'll talk to you again.
And thank you for allowing me to talk, be here to speak to the people out in Roswell.
Anytime, and anytime too. I know we talk with Superintendent Luck, but anytime any of our school board wants to get in and talk, I'd open invite anytime. So.
I will be here.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.